The first two seasons of My Hero Academia had me so hooked on the show, and while I enjoyed seasons 3 and 4, there was something kind of just missing, like something that just, like, that spark that I had disappeared. This week's episode of My Hero Academia brought it back, all of a sudden, and you can imagine why. Hello, it's Westside Otaku, in which I like to talk with you about anime here and there, and boy, 2 weeks in a row of My Hero Academia content, and this is just something kind of in the big picture of things I wanted to kind of talk about with you in the comments. So if you have any thoughts, please comment, because that's why I upload these, because I like to discuss things I upload with you. And boy, this week's episode had, sure, a really, kind of cool Otaku and Midoriya moment, and, seeing another Class 1A versus 1B, but things like, you think it's just going to be okay. Deku might have a little bit of a freak out during this match, maybe, and it's a rematch between him and Mind Guy, and then it just became something totally different by having all of a sudden just all these black-green whips come out and freaking out. And when that happened, dude, I swear, like, if I reacted to this episode, 2 things happened. One, when those whips came out, I legitimately was just like, what is happening? And then later on, dude, this is awesome! I am so happy that there is this new element to My Hero Academia, but more specifically to Midoriya. What made me fall in love with My Hero Academia is the first 2 seasons, because that is when Midoriya was, he was a quirkless person, but a hero deep down. So much so that the greatest of all time is like, hey, I want to pass my quirk on to you, giving him that opportunity and seeing him have to work up and control this quirk. And also, him being kind of the underdog in his class, but somehow, especially in season 2, him becoming like one of the top 3, like it was always between Bakugo and Todoroki, like they're the best in the class, but somehow Midoriya gets considered among them by doing these feats. And him proving himself, like, having to learn to control this quirk that he's only had for, a few months or a year or whatever. And all these kids have had them all their lives. And so that's kind of one of the things that really attracted me to my hero, is seeing Midoriya kind of work his way up as this underdog and learning to control this quirk. And then season 3 is when he started to really get, control of it, which is cool. I'm really happy that he did. And by season 4, he's got it. He's just basically got it down. That was cool to see. But at this point onwards, it's like, okay, so he's just gonna up it by 5%, up it by 5%, up it by 5% every now and then. But this brought my interest in Midoriya back. My interest in My Hero Academia so far has been primarily to see all the characters develop. The first 2 seasons, it was definitely Midoriya, and then I got, like, the glimpse. The Todoroki episode is still one of my favorites in My Hero Academia, if not the favorite, of just getting to know his story, and seeing Bakugo have all the character development he's had, and all these other people. I started to become more invested in all the other characters, but I felt like my time with Midoriya was done. I'm just like, okay, it seems like not much is going on with Midoriya lately, which sucks, because he's the main character. But then enter this episode. I was wondering, what are all these dreams teasing at? Is it going anywhere? And then, sure enough, we finally get our answer. This quirk goes out of control, which, again, shocking moment, because this entire, this whole arc has been awesome, seeing these, teammates go against each other, and why not make the final bout make something finally go so wrong that the teachers have to intervene and go, hey, we should probably stop this. And it just was like a shocking moment. And I love seeing everybody trying to save Midoriya, like, hold on, let's put this match on hold. Everything, just let's put it on hold. And very cute moment where, Otaku, Uraraka, whichever one you want to call her, she tries to, go through all of the vines, and she, like, is hugging Deku, like, snap out of it or whatever. I'm like, okay, that's cute. That's cool. I'm really mad if his name isn't Ashido, but I want to say it's Ashido. I want to have my rematch with you, but in, like, a, friendly sport way. So he is the one that saves Midoriya. I love that. I love that full circle. He was the one that made Midoriya first see these guys, and he's now being the one to allow him to see them again, have this conversation with one of the past inheritors. This inheritor is telling him, hey, this is my quirk. As this thing grows in you, you're going to start to discover the rest of our quirks. And I am dying to know the conversation with All Might. And for Midoriya to be like, did this happen to you? All might say no. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm wanting to know what All Might says, because if this is just something specific to Midoriya, that adds all the more. It's like a clean slate. Midoriya for the past 4 seasons has just been, getting to know what we perceive to be One For All. But it turns out, kind of like All For One For All has been building up all these years. And it's actually kind of like been a continuously passed down trait, not just like this one kind of quirk, but it's a quirk that has taken upon the other folks, because Midoriya, he was quirkless, so he doesn't have a quirk to pass on. And that's why I'm trying to remember, did All Might have a quirk beforehand, and how many of the previous wielders had quirks that Midoriya is now going to start discovering, and it's going to become this new thing in the show that isn't just about, Midoriya's going to get new powers, which is dope, by the way. He's going to become a freaking monster, which is, I guess, is how, beginning of the show say he's going to become the greatest of all time. But now it's going to kind of become this thing where Midoriya is becoming a new All For One, but the good kind. And instead of it just being the single quirk that's just like, Goku power up, it's actually like all of the previous inheritors together in Midoriya, and him having to kind of meet them over time. That is such a new journey. I cannot wait to see Midoriya go on, and it has brought back a huge spark in My Hero Academia that's made me like anticipating more. Because again, once he started learning how to control his quirk, I'm like, okay, he's gonna get another couple %. But now it's a journey of him meeting these previous inheritors, and he's going to get new quirks that way, and it's gonna build up to whatever he's gonna have to fight, aka like All For One or Higurashi, whatever his name is. Like, I'm excited, man. This brought back a lot of the fire I really missed in My Hero Academia in this development, just this one development. So what'd you think of this? And leave me some comments, because I love to chat with you about it. And if you have been to the channel before, why not consider subscribing? Talk to you in another one. Be geek, be proud, be awesome.